All right, here I am at it again. It's no more Mr. Nice Guy. Wait, that's somewhat of a misnomer because we are friendly, CLI friendly. And as you can see on the screen over here, I decided to replace the boring command line in this episode with my desktop because I have some real world demonstrations that I would like to discuss in today's episode 4, Passing the Buck. Now, some of you might be asking, what the blazes are you talking about? Well, I am talking about linking. And linking is a very powerful feature in Linux. And as I promised in a previous episode that I was going to do a special episode on this. And there are two types of links that you can work with. You have hard links, which are very limited. And then you have soft links or symbolic links that you see all the time when you're surfing around and you're looking for solutions on the internet on your Linux distribution. So we're going to take a quick look at hard links, and then I'm going to show you some real world results with the symlinks. Now, forgive me, I am not using any notes on this, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to botch things up. But in case I do, Dirty Helga will probably pop in and give a few words of wisdom. Shut up, Helga. I saw that comment. All right, let's move right along here. First, let's talk about hard links. Now, first, let's open up our terminal here, and I hope the font is big enough for you guys. I tried to enlarge it a little bit, but I didn't want to make it too big. So I hope you guys can read this in full 1080p. First, let's pull up manual on link, and the command is ln, okay? All right, so when we pull up the manual for link here, okay, it gives you the command line switches that you're going to see. Now, the most common one that people use is the -lowercase s switch for making a symbolic link, okay? But we can do some things with this here. For instance, all right, let's go ahead and quit this. We're on the desktop right now. Let's say I want to make a new text file. So let's go ahead and go touch. Original.txt. Okay, this is the original text file because I'm going to show you how we're going to make a hard link. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit the original text file with Nano, if I learn how to type again today. Okay, now let's go ahead and have a little bit of fun with this. Hard link demonstration. All right, so now that I'm happy with my text file, I can just press Control X, Y, and then Enter. Okay, and our file is saved. All right, now why don't I go into downloads here? I have a downloads directory here, and why don't I go ahead and just create document, an empty file. And let's call this copy. And then we're going to create that. I'm going to link original.txt to ~downloads copy.txt. Okay, it failed to link because that already exists. Okay, then why don't we do this then? I'm going to delete this file then. And then I'm going to press the up arrow and I'm going to do it again. So, trying to create a hard link against a file that you've already created isn't going to work. So, let's do that again this time. All right, now we have copy.txt here. Now, let's go ahead and open this file. Okay, you can see here that it has all of the information that I typed in. Now, let's go ahead and add some more text to this. Okay, and then save it. Okay, now, let's see what happens when we go to read this file from the terminal. Okay, so we're still on our desktop here. Okay, because when we ls hyphen l, oops, let's get this right, ls hyphen l, okay, it's going to tell you that original text is here, and then you see that number 2 right here, that's saying there's two, it's hard linked twice, meaning that there are 2 files pointing to the data. That's what that number represents here. Otherwise, if we didn't have the hard link here, it would only be a 1. Okay? All right, so now we're going to use less to read it. Less original dot text. Okay, and as you can see here, when we page down, see that text that we've added? So we have these files linked together, okay? Now watch this. Let's go ahead and let's quit this. Okay, maybe I'm sick of using the original text file. Okay, so we're just going to rm original.txt. Okay? That file has now been deleted, but when we go into our downloads directory here and we open this, look, the file is still there, okay? So that's what you can do with a hard link, but there are limitations to what you can do with hard links, okay? For instance, some text editors will break your hard links. So let's say you use Emacs and you edit that text file. What it's going to do is it's going to write a new copy.txt, leaving the original, and usually the original will have like a tilde in front of it or some character to make it invisible. It'll leave a trace of what the original was, but basically what it does is it'll break your hard links. Okay, and also, when doing hard links, you can't link to directories. Now, some will argue, yes, but I'm using dev1, which uses system via net, and that allows me to link hard links to directories. Yes, you would be correct there. You could do that. But the ideal method is creating symbolic links if you want to link to directories. And I'll show you why here in a moment. It's just that the hard links do have certain limitations, though, okay? They can't jump across file systems. So if you're making hard links, they have to reside on the same partition. So they are a little restrictive, whereas symbolic links give you a lot more freedom. Now, you can think of a symbolic link much like a Windows shortcut, but the difference is in Linux, they're a lot more powerful. That's right, Windows does things a little half-faced, okay? Because that shortcut, that you have on the desktop is, you can't do whole directories and that sort of thing in Windows, at least as far as I'm aware. That may have changed. You could probably do it with the GNU subsystem on Windows, but I have no clue how that works because, hey, I'm happy using Linux, right? And that's why I'm here. Okay, so let's move along here and let's talk about symlinks. Symlinks are your friend because you can do some really wicked things with them here. Okay, so for instance, you can see in this window here, I have my Play on Linux wine prefix folder, and you're going to see I have two folders in here that are pointing somewhere else. All right, well, Play on Linux requires all of your wine prefixes to be in one place. That's where the software is looking. But using symlinks, you can move the data somewhere else, like another partition, another hard drive. Let's say you're running out of room, because you can see here, I've only got 90 gigs of space left on my SSD drive, and I have plenty of room on my 7200 RPM spinning hard disk. Okay, and so I decided, why not put data on that spinning hard disk? Because the SSD is for my operating system. I want the operating system to run fast, but where data is concerned for like movies, audio files, games, and other things like that, where I really don't necessarily need the performance hit, it's okay to have that data on a spinning hard disk. So I use symlinks to pass the buck, and I'm going to show you how to do this both in the terminal and using the GUI, because this is something I just discovered in preparing for this exercise. I was completely unaware that you could do this from the GUI. I always thought you had to use a terminal, so I figured, why not? Let's do a demonstration and show you how that works. But at any rate, what we have here is, in my Play on Linux / wine prefix directory, I have my 32-bit desktop publishing wine prefix that has my Macromedia Studio and all of my favorite applications that I love for creating content that I can throw together and throw into Kdenlive. Live. All right, and this is actually pointing to my physical hard disk. Okay, and if I go into my hard drive here, go directory up and into my 0 Proton, here's that directory that it's moving to. So instead of being in Home's Battery Play on Linux wine prefix 32-bit, it's actually in storage 0 Proton 32-bit. Okay? All right, so it's a nifty way of transferring or passing the buck, as I was saying. All right, so let's try a practical way of doing a demonstration here. So it just so happens that I have a directory that I might want to be able to have a link to just for quick access. So why don't I go into my hard drive and my programs folder, and I have a VM folder here. And basically what I do is I keep all of my images and drives here, but maybe I want to have references for quick access so I can get to this. To do this, all I would have to do is select the folder that I want to make a link to, okay, and then pressing Control-Shift and then left mouse click, I can drag this folder, and look what that did. That has now created a symlink to this folder. And then I can even do the same thing for drives here too. Okay, it's saying that there's an error. Do I want to? No, I don't want to do that. Okay, because I had two of them here. I accidentally highlighted two. So at any rate, I have a link to these drives. If I look at the contents of these, I have Command Line Workshop, and then my free Windows 7 images in here. And then, of course, images here, I have my ISO Watch, my Parted Magic, my XPs. I have some OVA files here as well. So, all right. And you can see that here when I click on these links. Instead, it's saying Home's Battery VM drives, but really that folder doesn't exist. It's actually passing the buck over to my storage drive. Powerful stuff here. Okay, so let's put this into practical use here. Let's close this here and try that in the terminal. Let's move these to the trash. And then empty trash here. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to link -s. Yeah, helps to do this right. Why don't we move this up a little bit so we can see better what we're doing? Maybe even clear the screen. Remember, Control L also clears. Okay, so we're going to do ln-s for symbolic, okay? And then we are going to first define where the files reside. And that, in this case, it's /storage /hdd /programs /vm /images. All right, and then we need to define where we want it to go. I could type in the whole line home/spatchery/vm, but we would prefer to choose a method that involves less typing. So a way to do a shortcut, since I'm already logged in as Spatchery, we can tell born again shell tilde / and then VM. And that basically means the same thing. We press enter here. Now we have our link to images. And we can do the same thing with the drives as I did before. All we need to do is just modify that text for the drives folder. And there you have it. Very simple, very easy. So now I have links to this data on my home partition, which resides on my SSD drive, without taking any space. How cool is that? And there are many other applications that using symbolic links may be useful. Let's say you installed a game from Steam and you're using a Linux distribution that isn't quote-unquote officially supported. Well, a lot of game fixes that they offer that you'll see online, many times, I'm seeing symbolic links being offered as the solution to the problem, because maybe the game needs a specific symbolic link in order to work, and the game doesn't know where to look for that particular symbolic link, or you downloaded a special version of the shared object file that the game needs in order to operate, and then you need to have a symbolic link that points that file to where the game directory is, where the game itself is looking for that particular object. So that is one way that you could use symbolic links. And there are many other ways that you could use to make this work. Symbolic links are quite powerful, and I'll have some links in the show notes with some additional references that further explain hard links and symbolic links for those of you who wish to explore them. That's all I have on today's topic. In the next edition of CLI Friendly, we're going to do some more with file operations. We're going to be able to do further examination into files on the system. So we're going to ditch the GUI in the next episode. We're going to get a little bit more hands-on, but I'll try my best to keep it user-friendly for all of you beginners out there, because this is very important stuff. The command line is your friend, and you want to make use of it as much as possible, because it's going to save you time in the long run, rather than having to, open up a graphical user interface and that sort of thing. It's Saturday. That means tonight is game night. And every Saturday night at 8 p.m. New York time, we have a game night, and have a handful of people. Presently, we're playing Star Conflict and the new multiplayer edition of Super Tux Kart. We're having a blast with it, so please come in. And if we have enough people show up, I have some games to give away for free, but I'm not going to give away anything if it's going to be dead as a doornail, obviously. So come on in. There's an opportunity to win, and all you have to do to win is just be present. As stated, if you click the link in the description, that will take you to cupoflinux.com that has all of the show notes for every episode in this series, okay? So rather than, putting all that stuff on YouTube, it's better to have it all in one place because as this series progresses, I'm adding more content to that area. So it's to your benefit to visit us at cupoflinux.com. And while you're there, please consider hitting the support button. That will help us keep the lights on at cupoflinux.com and distrohunt.org. I can't think of what else to say other than thanks for watching, and hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed. Be sure to take a little bit of your time today and be excellent with somebody. So until next time, peace out.